Welcome back to She. I'm so excited you decided to click on this new episode and watch this new video. Today we're going to be talking about, the devotion will be about being brave. And I can't help but share with you all a field trip I went on with my daughter a couple weeks ago to Charlotte, it's called the Living Jewish Community Center in Charlotte. I had no idea what the field trip was really going to be about. I just decided I would be a chaperone. And honestly, I had just gotten back from Mexico and I was sick. I was just now feeling a little bit better. I really almost canceled to go, but I am so glad now that I did not. It was a field trip about the Jewish Holocaust. And I really had no idea that's what it was going to be about, because the name of the field trip was called the Butterfly Project. And honestly, I thought we were going to go see like butterflies or like a butterfly exhibit. I had no idea that it had anything to do with the Jewish people and the Holocaust. So when we got there, one of the first things that we did was we watched a video of a woman who is a survivor of the Holocaust. And she recalls her parents' story and her story. She was just an infant. This happened from the time that she was an infant to about 6 years old. And she tells the story about her parents and everything that they had to go through with their persecutions, their Nazis. They were transferred from their home into this place called a ghetto, where they just piled all the people together, all the Jewish people together. They all lived together. She said about 9 families lived in the home that was called their home, all together, the husbands and wives and the children. And really the house was only, she said, it was just probably one family with like 1 child or 2 child it was big enough for that. So imagine 9 families living in that space. Her story and her parents' story was entirely full of bravery and brave moments, and moments where you think, okay, they're going to get caught or this is going to happen. I mean, just how the Lord just kept his hand on them and protected them was just amazing. And when the video was finished, you know, at this point I was sobbing. Here comes this lady, and it was her. It was the lady that was telling the story about her life and her parents. She was there, and we got to ask her some more questions. So it was just so amazing to see her, physically see her. I was honored. First of all, I was honored, you know, that we were getting to meet this woman, and her story was just amazing. So through her sharing her story and her parents, what had happened to them, she spoke of a lady that helped her escape. And that woman would put herself out there to these families and say, I will help you get your child out of this concentration camp. And all this had to be done in secret, because if they were ever found out, the Nazis would capture them and kill them, or take them to a concentration camp, and eventually, you know, they would be tortured or gassed or shot. So this woman decided that the call on her life, she was a Christian, the call on her life was to help these families that had children and get their children to a safer place. So she was kind of like a foster parent. But I couldn't help but think of the bravery that this woman had, that she had to make her mind up to say, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to help these families. She was literally putting her life at risk and danger every time she rescued a child. And the way that her parents trusted this woman, because really at those times, who could you trust? Nobody. Everybody was working for so-and-so. Everybody was doing shady things. So the fact that they trusted her, and everything was done in secret and through other people, like they never actually met this woman face to face. Everything was done through other people. I mean, Lord, how much faith do you have to have in somebody to say, you know what, I'm willing to sacrifice this. I'm willing to do this for the safety of my child. These parents really did that for their daughter. But also this woman was brave enough to take these children and take them to safer ground. Well, her story was that her parents gave her a sleeping potion, and so the little child fell asleep, and her dad was one of the bakers. He made the bread for all the people in this town, the little ghetto, and he had access to the potatoes that came off the truck and on the truck, or like you would load them on the truck and they would go out or come in. They gave their daughter the sleeping potion. They put her in a sack, put her in the back of this potato truck. The potato truck pulls out. The lady knew where they were going to throw the potato sacks, so she was waiting there to get this child off this truck. Crazy, I know, right? Like, we can't fathom that. But the bravery that she was there, she got the child. The story is just amazing and awe. I can't help but think in times and moments in our lives when we're called to being brave, when God calls us to be brave, when God calls us to take that crazy step, that make those crazy decisions in our life where we look and we're saying, how is this all going to work out, Lord? Like, those parents didn't know that their child was going to make it alive. They didn't know if she was going to get caught. They didn't know if this lady was going to get caught. I mean, you really have to trust and put your trust in the Lord. And you have to be brave. And I just want that word to be in my life, in my family's life this year for 2018. Brave. Be brave. Whatever you do, do it bravely. Whether it's a new job, whether it's a new thing, whether it's a new friendship, whether you're considering getting married to somebody, whether you're considering moving to another state, whether you're considering adoption, whether you're considering being somebody's friend that has hurt you in the past, whether you're considering being accepted because you're afraid of saying, this is what I want to do, this is your next step. Be brave. I feel like God is saying, be brave. And I can't help but think about, I was reading in the Psalms, and I came upon this Psalm 27 where it says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And one of the inserts in my book, in my Bible down here, I love the commentary that it has. It says, with God's protection, there's no need to be afraid, regardless of the danger. Regardless of the danger that you think that this new thing poses. Don't be afraid. There's no need to be afraid. God is protecting you. He is in control of your life. Here it says, the Lord is the stronghold. He is the stronghold of your life. I'm speaking to the choir right now, to me. There's many things in my life that I need to be brave in. And this is just something that is reassuring me to be brave. I will post some pictures to show you guys what the Butterfly Project was all about. It was amazing. Think of something in your life that you're wanting to be brave at. Pray about it. Ask God, if this is what you want me to do, Lord, give me that courage. Give me that bravery to do what it is that you have placed in my heart. And I guarantee you that God is going to guide you and lead you down the right path. Love you guys. Stay tuned for sharing time. Hey, welcome back for sharing time, and today we're going to be talking about adoption. And I have Holly Rogers. She's one of our pastors at our church, Fort Mill Church of God, and I wanted to have her on today because I want her to share. She has 2 beautiful boys that her and her husband Brian have adopted, and I just want to talk about that today. I feel that is something that has been burning in my heart, and something that I have been reading as well in that book, Daring to Hope, that Ashley gave me a couple months ago, and I'm a horrible reader, but I'm getting through it. Yeah. And if y'all don't know about Katie Major Davis, I think that's her name, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She has adopted a whole bunch of girls in Africa, and she just tells a lot of her stories about them and their life together, and it has just impacted me in a way where I'm just like,
you feel like an underachiever a little bit, don't you?
I know.
Because no matter what you do, she's adopting kids in
12
Africa.
girls, I think. And then she has one child of her own, so I don't know how she does it. I mean,
me either.
I don't know how you do it. You got 5, so we'll talk about that. But I'm so excited to have you on today.
I'm excited too. Glad to be here. It's going to be great.
So, like I said, we're going to be talking about adoption, and we're going to start off with a couple of questions.
Okay.
What are one of the things that made you consider, or you and Brian consider adoption? And, you know, how did you know that you were ready? How did you know that that was something that you guys felt like, okay, this is something that we should do?
You know, if you're a parent at all, you know you're never ready. You're never ready. You're never ready emotionally, financially. You think you're ready, and then that beautiful bundle of joy gets here, and you know that you're never ready. We were children's pastors at the time in North Carolina, and we were so in love with, and still are, a big call in our life as kids. Seeing them grow and be disciples and be safe and all that God would have them to be, and not live under the weight of what the world would put them on. And so we had kids. We had 3 girls, 3 fabulous, wonderful little girls, and we were done. We were done with kids. I had a man that I loved. He loved me. We had 3 great little girls, and we were done. We were working with kids at the church, and so it's funny how there's a verse in Proverbs that says men make plans and God orders the steps. Because God really knows what our capacity is, what He has dreamed for us, and what it's going to take to get us to that point, to be ready to walk the next step. And so during that season, we saw this news story, and this is one of those things, how real do we want to get? We saw this news story where this little girl, her life was ended by her dad. And just to be really raw about it, he drowned her. He drowned his own child in the house where she was supposed to be safe. She was supposed to be loved. This was supposed to be the man that protected her and fought for her, ended her life. And I remember Brian and I thinking, this is horrible. This can't be. How did this happen? What an injustice. But we moved on from that, and we really didn't think much more about it. We had that moment, that thing in our heart where we had a moment, but we didn't do anything with it. And within like 2 weeks, there was another story that came on where this little boy was killed in his home by his parents. And we just had this moment where we thought, if we say our heart breaks for children, if we say our heart breaks and we're called to disciple and rescue and love kids, can we really say we're doing that and hear stories like this and not try to step in and make a difference?
Right. Do something.
And so we began to pray about it. And we didn't know what that something was. And I heard about a foster care class that was coming up because in our county, there was not enough foster parents for kids. We were sending kids to other places to live because there were so many and the need was so great. And Brian and I are so opposite. I don't know if you and TJ are this way, but we're so stinking opposite. Like, I am jump all in, leap before I look, what's over the next hill, ready to go. And Brian's that anchor that's like, we might want to think about this a little bit. And so I said, we need to do foster care. And he said, why don't we think about this a little bit? I'm not sure if this is the thing. Well, I know we're looking for the thing, but I'm not sure. And so we decided to go to the class and listen. And I said, well, baby, because you know I'll take 500 kids in the house. We will be eating ramen and piling them up on the couch, one on top of the other, because I want to save them all. I need you to be the voice of reason. Right. And so I really did defer to him to be that, Lord, I need you to speak to him because I'm ready to be all in. And so we went to the first couple of classes, and he said, okay, I think we're supposed to be foster parents. And I was like, yes. I said, okay. And so we went to, but he said, we're going to foster, but we're not going to adopt. I don't think adoption is really the plan right now. And I said, okay, baby, you know, I'll do whatever. So we went to a couple other classes, and he said, I think God wants us to adopt. And I was like, oh, yes, God wants us to adopt. And so then we go to a couple other classes, and he said, well, we'll adopt. We're only adopting girls. Because we have girls, we know girls, we can do girls. We have girl toys, girl clothes. And so we went through the whole process and got ready to foster, and we fostered many, many kids. And I got a call at work one day. And the social worker said, we have a little boy that has just been born, and his mom is not going to take him. She's going to leave him at the hospital. Do you want him? And I said, well, I don't know. Because the answer is yes, 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 and every other kid on the planet. But let me call my husband, the anchor of this family, to speak some common sense into this situation.
Especially if he wanted a girl.
Well, and I don't know that he wanted a girl as much as we knew girls. You know what I mean? Like, we had invested money in girls. We had dolls.
Right.
We had pink clothes. We had clothes from newborn all the way up. Like, we could take a girl at any size and we're ready. So I call him and I said, babe, there's a baby at the hospital that's ready to be picked up tomorrow. The mom's not going to take him and he's going to be adoptable. It's a boy. I said, what do you want to do? And he said, that's our son. Right? Like, oh, so I call her back. So he comes home from work and he says, I just want you to know that I went ahead online and I ordered him a Texas Longhorns like bodysuit and hat and stuff, and I ordered me a matching hat. So he became immediately like the dad of this son. And we didn't know anything. We didn't know the health status. We didn't know the color of the beautiful skin that this child was going to have. We didn't know if they were going to be HIV positive, drug positive. We knew nothing, but we knew our son was here and we were going to pick him up the next day. And so that's kind of, it wasn't this moment where God said, it's adoption. It was this moment where God said, okay, are you going to do something? Are you going to do something? Or are you going to let the world continue to ravage these kids that you say you love?
Right.
And I'll open the door and show you. So.
Yeah. And I think that for anybody who's considering, is this for me? Is adoption for me? Like you said, it's something that is in every single one of us that I feel like we all can. We all have that capacity. Oh my God.
I know. I'm telling you. It'll wear the stories, the lives that are changed.
So another question is, did you ever feel like, or Brian, we're not financially ready for this? Like,
oh gosh,
is that ever like a...
Absolutely, because adoption happens in a lot of different ways. Some adoption happens because a family member passes and you're taking a family member in. Some people can't have kids and they decide to adopt. For us, it was foster care. And if you're in foster care, there is a little bit of financial stipend that they give you, but that does not even cover the tennis shoes. I mean, so you know that you're taking in kids. When these kids come to your house through foster care, they either come with a trash bag of clothes that doesn't fit or nothing at all. And you have to be willing to invest. And we had a rule in our house. We didn't know a thing about foster care. We didn't know it's just like parenting. You don't know. You think you know. And then you get the kid here and you do not know.
You're calling mom.
I know, like, what is going on? This kid is doing things. I read the book and this is not going according to plan. So you think you know, but you don't know. But the rule that we had in our house was from the moment that a kid walked in our door, whether they were with us for 6 months, a year, or forever, they were like every other kid in the house, and they were afforded every other thing that the kid was afforded. If there was food in the house, they did not have to ask, go eat the food. If there was a toy, play with it. You want to play with a game? Play with it. If it's Christmas and our kids get 4 gifts, you get 4 gifts of the same exact quality and content and everything. Yes. And so there's a financial aspect to that. But God is faithful. A lot of the things in our life, and we can get on this tangent, a lot of the things in our life are wants, they're not needs. I drink Starbucks every day. Whew, that's a big investment, right? So don't go out to eat the steak dinner. Choose to make your coffee at home. God will teach you how to make it affordable and make it doable. God's not going to call you to something that He doesn't equip you to be able to do. So no, we were not financially ready, but here we are. I am sure when we are 60, we're going to look back and say, how in the world did we raise 5 kids, feed them, get them through school and dance and football and all the things? But we were able to because God is faithful.
So tell us a little bit about Damien. He was your first.
Well, Jeremy was my first.
Oh, Jeremy.
Yes,
sorry.
Jeremy's the first. Damien was the second. Okay, so Jeremy, like how he is now, Jeremy is the typical baby of the family. You know how they say if you had this kid first, you wouldn't have the other 5? He is me. It's like God said, okay, I'm going to give you Damien, which is our other adopted son, and he's going to be just like Brian. And then I'm going to give you Jeremy, and he's going to be just like you. And so it makes me think, I need to call my mom and say thank you a lot, because he would jump off the roof and he's all through the bushes and climbing trees and jumping over stuff. But he is such a mighty man of God. He is such a mighty man of God. They have two different experiences, Jeremy and Damien. Jeremy only knows us. Jeremy came to our house from birth. Damien was 6. And so they have different perspectives. But if God could have given me a kid to know how to parent because I am that kid, whew, he is an amazing human. Hysterically funny, just a great person. He's a great person.
So was the process ever hard or discouraging? Like, I'm asking, did your family ever give you like a hard time about it, or were they just fully like accepted the decision that you guys wanted to adopt? And
well, we are so blessed. Our family was immediately open to the idea, and that is not always the case. One of the biggest questions that people ask me when they're thinking about adoption, thinking about fostering, there's two questions. One, how do you foster and let them go? And the other question is, will I love them as much as a biological kid? First of all, can you love them as much as a biological kid? Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. There is absolutely no difference in your heart. They require some different conversations, some tough conversations. My oldest son, who was adopted when he was 6, was asking about his family, and I had to tell him some real true things. Now, he wasn't 6 when we had this conversation. He's 12 now. And I didn't tell him everything, but I told him some things. He laid over in my lap and cried. So it can be hard, and there are conversations that you have to have, but is the love different? Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Oh, not even a little bit.
Has any of the boys' family ever tried to like contact them, or like, how does that affect the dynamics?
It's hard. We adopted since we were in foster care, the kids came from the county that you're fostering in. And so we were from a very small town. And so we would run into the grandmother sometimes at the grocery store, or the biological mom at the ballpark. And so it could get awkward. We have 2 such different stories. Jeremy's mom did not feel like she could keep him. And so he was left at the hospital. Damien's... I will say that the reason they were taken was because his biological brother was beaten so much that he almost died. And Damien saw that and processed through that, and so it's a different story. His brother was adopted by a youth pastor in the Church of God, and we still have contact, so the brothers get to see each other we Skype together and things, and so that's such a beautiful thing about this story. It really is. But because Damien's mother did not give him up, and was still trying to get him back and process through getting him back, it could get complicated. But here's the thing, and I really do mean this, and I'm not saying this for us to be like, oh, we're so bold, all of us as Christians. Right. We are called to battle. And sometimes we forget when we're called to battle, that means we carry warrior wounds. And that we have to be strong when we feel weak. And that we have to put ourselves in situations that we don't want. God doesn't call us to be wimpy Christians. And that may not be foster adoption care for you. It may be something else. But don't be surprised if God calls you to something that you will carry scars from it. That's okay. So yes, we had to put ourselves in between the tough situations sometimes. But Lord, the reward. Oh my gosh, the reward. We have 2 mighty sons that are going to be world changers, whose life and direction has been changed forever, who are going to be husbands and fathers, who are not going to live under addiction, who are not going to be abusers. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people are going to come to know the Lord through them. I believe it. And that's because not we stepped into the situation, but we came under the authority of God, and He stepped into the situation. So.
And you guys are pretty amazing parents.
Whatever, I will say, it's not adoption necessarily for everyone, but everyone has something. Everyone has a call in their life.
What would you say, like, one of the questions I wanted to ask was, what is one of the biggest misconceptions? Because people, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't raise somebody else's kid.
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest things is, can I love them that much? Can I love them the same? Or Another one is this is horrible. This is a horrible thing, but I've heard it. You don't know what you're going to get. Well, you know what? I gave birth to 3 kids and I don't know what I'm going to get.
Right.
I pray over them. I speak life over them. I declare that no weapon will be formed against them that will prosper. But at the end of the day, it's up to them if they follow
That's right.
God.
It's their choice.
It's up to them if
Right.
they become all that they're called to be. And so if that is a concern in your heart, then I would just encourage you that the same struggles that you have with biological kids, you're going to have with adopted kids. But you parent them the same. There's some issues that are conversations, but you parent them the same. You declare the same scriptures over their life. You make them go to church during the hard-headed teenage years and don't let them get away from it. So I think a lot of it is, am I going to be able to love them the same? And I don't know what I'm going to get. Yeah. And if you can get beyond those and submit yourself to God, because we don't know what we're going to get tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We don't. I don't know what God's bringing to my tomorrow, but can I trust Him with it?
So did your family embrace adoption?
Oh my gosh, my family wanted me to adopt like 100 million kids. Today, my mom's like, is there another kid coming to the house anytime soon? I'm like, Mom, we're not even foster parents anymore, so probably not right now. My parents were so open-armed with it. And really, we're Southern. Mm-hmm. And we're from, our town was 3,000, tiny shoebox town. But the whole community was so open-armed with this. I say that because if you're listening and you don't know me, you don't know that we are what's called a transracial family, which means you've adopted kids from another race into your family. My boys are both biracial, black and white, but if you look at them, you're going to think that they're black. They have the most beautiful brown skin on the planet, just adorable humans. And so our family didn't even blink at it. It was like a non-issue for any of the generations. My grandparents, my uncles, aunts, cousins, they were all so open-armed about it, and it was wonderful.
Do you think your girls would ever adopt?
I hope so. Girls and boys. They talk about it, and I think they're all open to it. I would love to have all 5 of my kids to adopt.
So, you know how we're doing the Kirk family thing in our Sunday school class for
right?
homegoers?
Yes.
The Heart of Family.
Yes.
Well, the next video, which I didn't get to show to my class because we didn't have Sunday school yesterday, but the next video, you find out that the woman, she's adopted.
Oh, his wife
Kirk's
is adopted.
wife.
Oh.
And for 6 years, they kind of tried, they weren't really trying to have children, but they couldn't have children.
Yeah.
She adopted her first 4 kids.
How many do they have?
6.
That's awesome.
Her first 4 are adopted, and biracial and all that.
Yeah.
And I just bawled when she started telling about that, and she was like, "Well, I'm adopted." She's like, "So there was no choice for me." She said, "I was gonna adopt." She says, "I didn't know how many or how, but it just happened, and it's just such a beautiful story." And like I'm sitting here listening to you tell this, it's just so beautiful when you can just. You don't even bat an eye. This is what I'm going to do, and your family embraced it, supported you. It just makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So to look back and see how God's worked it all out, do you feel like, Lord, I knew that this was your plan for our life the entire time, or was there ever a time where you're like, oh.
Well, we have determined, and it's so funny because we had this conversation again recently. If God, as a couple, if God plants us in obscurity and no one knows our name, or we lose every bit of privacy that we have because we can't even go to the grocery store because everyone knows our name, are we willing to fearlessly follow God anywhere on the spectrum that it falls? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. And so we didn't know that this was going to be the story, but we knew early on that regardless of what the question was, what the ask was, what the call was, even if it was uncomfortable, we were going to say yes. We did not know it was going to be adoption. Such a beautiful part of, and Damien and Jeremy's story are just so beautiful and different. But my grandfather passed away a year before Jeremy was born on June 3rd. And on his birthday, the next year, the first birthday we were living without him, we had been through the first year of losing someone so great in your life, and he was such a mighty man. It's hard. And so on June 3rd, we're trying to breathe. We're just trying to survive the day without this man. And I got a call that afternoon that my son was born. He was born on the day God gave us one of the biggest blessings on our life, of our life, on the day that we thought we were just surviving.
I mean, that's just how God works.
Isn't it? Isn't it so how God works?
That's just how God works. Just when you think, Lord, how is this going to happen?
Yeah.
He shows up. It doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't. And and I encourage all of us, make markers in your life. I give my kids journals, and I make them write down things, and I'll write down timelines and things. Because when I get discouraged and I wonder, is God going to be faithful this time? I can say, but June 3rd, he was faithful. And this day he was faithful. And then on this day he showed up when I didn't think he was going to be able to do it. Oh, it's so
markers
good.
in your life. I love that. Yes. So let's leave off with, how can you encourage somebody, or what can you say to somebody that is considering adoption, or that has toyed around with the idea, going back and forth? What can you say to them? What last words can you leave with them?
I will say what I say to my sons. The scriptures that say things like, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are marvelous, Lord. I know them full well. Scriptures like, before you were in your mother's womb, their biological mother. They're born in your heart. They were born in someone else's womb. But God knew them before they were ever born in that womb. I tell my sons, God knew that he wanted you to be short in one case and really tall in the other, because I have one son that's really short and one that's really tall. He knew that you were going to love sports and that you were going to love building things. He knew that he wanted you to have beautiful brown skin. He knew that he wanted you to be planted in this family. That just because the story starts differently than normal, and I hate that word even normal, but differently than what we think when we start dreaming about our story, it doesn't mean it's not God ordained. And so if you're thinking about adoption, you will love that kid. You will fight for that kid. You're going to sloppy cry over that kid when you hold your first grandkid, or you walk the little girl down the aisle towards her husband. It is going to feel the same as if they came from your body, because they came from your soul. And all of the hurdles that you're going to have to climb, and all the tough conversations that you have to have, and the tears that you're going to cry, every one of them will be worth it. They'll be worth it.
I love that. Thank you so much for being transparent about adoption, for sharing your beautiful story of your two boys and your family. And I know that sometimes it's not easy to talk about, but I'm just glad that you just came and shared.
I love these boys, and all 5 of our kids are miracles, and I'm so thankful for all 5 of them, and I thank you for letting me talk about it. I appreciate it.
We are blessed. So stay tuned, guys. Hey, welcome to my favorite things. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm really excited to share with you a couple of things. This is a new eyeshadow palette from Tarte that I got. It's from Tarte Under the Sea, and I kept seeing it on my newsfeed on Instagram. It kept coming up. I kept clicking on it, kept checking it out. And when I finally went to go see it at Sephora, it is actually, they're like foil finger paint, and you just rub your finger on it and you put it on your eyes. You don't even need to use a brush or anything, but it's got 5 shades that I love, and they're all like neutral, like you can see in the pictures. They're all neutral colors, so I can wear them at any time. Right now I have the Gold Coast on, and I absolutely love it. The pigments are crazy. Into makeup, for Christmas I got a new highlighter, and this is my favorite one right now. It's called Champagne Pop. It's by Becca, a Becca highlighter, and it is fabulous. And this came with a MAC highlighter that I got, but I use it because it's like perfect to put right here. But it is so pretty, so hot. She's got like 6 or 7 other shades, so if you don't like it to be too gold, she's got more neutral, pink, and really, really, really gold. But I love it. The pigments on this is really, really good too. It's all about the pigments. Then for Christmas I got an Altered State gift card. I know I'm talking about Christmas a lot. Yeah, Christmas is fun. And I waited a while to go shopping because I just really didn't need anything. I probably still don't need anything, but I went shopping anyways. So I went and got some cute tops. They were having this crazy sale at Altered State. But while I was in line checking out, I couldn't help but look at some of the things that were on the clearance rack in their jewelry section. And I got these really, really cute bracelets in gold that have something engraved on it. Like you see, one says blessed and the other one says my faith is bigger than my fear. And I just love it because I can put it around my wrist and it's just such a great reminder. I can look down and say, you know what, I'm blessed and God, you've got this. I also got some cute bracelets too, and I just like to mix them together. They just look really, really cute. Okay, now the last thing I want to share with you guys is some of the she mugs. I literally have run out, so I am going to order some more. And I just want to know which ones you guys like better. Do you like the clear better, or do you like the she in the white? I don't know, I might do some of both. So just give me your opinion on that and just be looking for some new she wear and she gear. I cannot wait. All right guys, I hope you've enjoyed Favorite Things. See you next time.